right, we are back, everybody. Great to be back with you for another week of Tai Chi, and we got a lot to do today. Welcome back to our regulars. Without you regulars, you guys, I would not be practicing. It's your interest and support, but mostly your interest, which makes me practice. And just because I live next door to a dojo doesn't mean I'm always over here. If you're having problems practicing during the week, so am I, right? But if we can all get together once a week like this is just so great and so gratifying for me, and it's so much fun to do. And I didn't think it would be fun at first, but it's really fun. So why aren't we starting like this, like we always do? Let's do Wang Jingjiang's loosening exercise, which is more two-dimensional, because two-dimensional movements are more lunar, and the moon is coming full this week. By the time you watch this video, it'll probably be, well, I hope it's not completely full, because you don't want to wait till Tuesday or Wednesday. So you see how I started here? Because this is a two-dimensional movement, right? I'm doing it, it's easier to see here, so. Okay, and now, the purpose is to loosen. So I'm going to just go as loose as I possibly can. Even looser. Remember, a lot of our Tai Chi is like peeling an onion. As soon as you get to one level, you think you've made it, you can always get more. So you think you're loose now? Take a deep breath, exhale, loosen up even more. As long as you don't fall on the floor, you can always get looser. And you just notice things occurring. Sort of remember when you're really loose, your body begins to move, your arms moving like ropes, and they have that sort of a little bit of a whipping movement. You can't control your hands because you're not controlling your hands. You don't know what your hands are going to do. All right, enough of that. Let's do some shoulder rolls. So as I mentioned, we're going to pack a bunch of stuff in. So if you need to pause at any point to review or to do a little more, I'm going to move on fairly quickly. We're doing, what we're doing is reviewing the first two sets of lunar movements that we ever did back in April or May. And we're not just reviewing, so that means you don't even need to go back and look at the video. We're going to try to refine and to look at alternate ways of doing them, and just maybe sort of burn the essential energy into our brain. Not necessarily memorize the movement, but become familiar with the energy. Okay, so let's go around the other way with our shoulders. And then, so the lunar movements tend to be a little bit more yin, and or maybe the reverse of the way we normally do them. And then, of course, there's that, we'll discuss that looking over the shoulder. That's classic lunar. That comes from mythology, though. Okay, let's do our neck a little bit, look up and down. If I could find a Qigong that focused just on the neck, we wouldn't have to do this very basic movement. But I'll keep looking. Look side to side. And then look straight ahead. Tip the head from side to side. So I don't know when you're watching this, but it's late August. And there are talking about gyms opening up again. So this is technically a gym. So just so you know, we may start coming back here on a limited basis. I'll let you know. And then don't worry, for those of you who don't want to come back for any reason, I won't hold it against you. And we will continue to have these videos until at least as long as one person's watching. I'll keep doing them. Now eventually, if the in-person class got very popular, we may just be videoing that. And the only reason we wouldn't do that is if people don't want to be on YouTube, but that's their problem, and we can figure that out when we come to it. So massage the neck and shoulders, you know, just do what feels good. Maybe when we're back in person someday, we can get somebody that knows traditional Chinese medicine to show us exactly what we're doing here and how to really show us some pressure points. And but right now, just do what feels good. We're just trying to loosen up those chronically tight muscles, right? Okay, excellent, excellent. How about, let's review one that we did a long time ago called Returning the Moon to the Sky. So, its most basic movement starts out, if we were going to just do this in this most basic formal Qigong, you know, our feet would be parallel and they wouldn't be very wide, and we would just come up to here and up to here. Nothing wrong with that. And if you have any health issues, if you're trying to do restorative Qigong, if you barely made it out of bed, I really wish that you guys, when you're not feeling well, try to do a limited practice rather than not doing it at all, because it's good for you. I mean, I'm not making any health claims, but it can't hurt you as long as you don't fall, right? So if you can get up to make yourself a cup of tea, you can get up and just do a little bit of this, right? Okay. So that's in its most basic form. And then we can bring the legs out wide. And look, I'm going to violate a rule that I'm always saying feet parallel. I'm saying you can keep your feet wide. And then we're going to start, you can pivot the feet. You can pivot just the back foot as you go from side to side, or you can pivot both feet, or you can add a little stepping. Some people, rather than pivoting the foot, they'd rather pivot in the process of a little step. And I don't mean like step like in distance step, I just mean picking the foot up and stepping. So see that? See the difference there? It's just neat. It's just an alternate way of pivoting, right? And so here we go. So now there's this sort of up and down swinging. So now now that your legs are wider, you can come down and up and down. This is when your weight is 50-50. Now it transfers and up and down. Exhale down. Inhale up. I'm going to start to pivot the feet more. I'm going to slow down. I didn't mean to speed up. Okay, there's still a couple things to show you about this that make this really unique and really cool. Is that, well, let me show you the first thing first. What do we do with this bottom hand? So my focus is always on this upward hand. Ooh, look at it, because I'm watching it, right? So I tend to ignore what the bottom hand is doing. But pause for a second. We can do our brush knee energy with this bottom hand, right? And if you remember our brush knee energy, it's real classic Tai Chi. So if you don't know it, pay attention. It's not just a sweeping movement of the hand. It's the hand sort of following this turning movement of the body. It's very powerful because it's not an arm movement. It's like that, right? So the classic movement in Tai Chi and the Yang style is a brush knee twist step. It's more than just Yang style, so it would be something like this. So this hand Here's going right down your center line, and this hand is sort of wrapping around the knee. But it's not an arm movement. I could have this whole arm and shoulder in a cast because of a motorcycle accident, and I could still do this, and it would look even better. So you can do it on the other side. It would be even better if my whole upper body was in a cast. I don't want to be in a motorcycle accident, but sometimes it's the only way to think about immobilizing into linking your whole body, right? So that's brush knee twist step, but that energy can be transferred to anything. So if I come out here, look at that, watch this arm. Look at that, that was brush knee. Oh, I'm sorry, here we go. That's brush knee with the orange hand. Brush knee with the yellow hand. Brush knee with the orange hand. Now I'm going to show you something even more crazy about this movement. This is the only Qigong movement I've ever seen that allows you to come up on the ball of the foot. Look at that foot, it just came up on the ball. I wouldn't call it the toes, because I don't want you to launch into space completely. I want you to keep grounded. So I'm just going to say, come up on the ball of the foot as you reach up. You better not lose your center. You can only do this if you can do it and still maintain your center. So in other words, if we were here together, could I push you or pull you? You have to feel like you can extend up, but still keep your chi back, still get that brush knee movement, still you can sink down as deep as you want too. So this is a great one, right? But what we're doing, this is not your recuperative Tai Chi. This is pretty energetic, okay? And I'm trying to put this all together into one movement. I'm doing the best I can, but there still is just a little bit of this arm does that, this arm does that, but I'm trying to keep it into one fluid, whole body movement, okay? When you're still in the process of just kind of figuring it out, it may be a little disjointed, but you guys can pause the video and just work on it for a little bit. Okay. And you can go even deeper than I'm going in. I got a little knee problems again this week, but you could sit way down, then come not super high up. All right, one more time to the other side. There's that brush knee. This is great. This is a great movement, returning the moon to the sky. Okay, tiny water break for Carlos, or for you guys. You're probably in your nice air-conditioned studio. Okay, let's review our old favorite, Rhino Gazes at the Moon. Remember, all the gazing at the moon Qigong is all based on this one myth. And of the rhino gazing at the moon, we covered that in a previous thing, but it's just classic. The poor rhino banished to the earth, out of heaven, banished to the earth to stay in heaven, on the earth, longing to return to heaven. And the only reason is because he messed up the directions of the heavenly emperor to come to earth and to tell human beings, mortals, to pray 3 times a day, eat 1 time a day. And he came to earth and he was so bedazzled by the bright lights and women and song, wine, women, and song, is that he said, got it mixed up, he got it backwards. He says, eat 3 times a day, pray 1 time a day. And when he got back to heaven, the heavenly emperor said, oh, you messed up. Just for that, I'm sending you back there with those people. And so forever, when the moon is full, the rhino looks over his shoulder, gazes at the moon. So let's go over the basics. I already showed you the basic. So The super basic, again, if you're doing restorative Tai Chi, it would just be, okay, it can be as little as this. This is gazing at the moon when you're not a rhino. So there's Qigong that just is called gaze at the moon. And it's almost the same thing. Right? But that's no good. Right? So the rhino, in its most basic movement, so we start with the right hand on top, and just make your little rhino horn. That's all you have to do. And then I can stand straight. I'm not hunched over the way I was before. That's my only excuse, is that when I turn my hand under, then I twist. That's where I lose my good form. I'll show you again. I lose my good form if I make this twisting, turning rhino horn the alternate version of the rhino horn, right? But if you're not making this, you can't be hunched over, okay? So, why is the right hand on top? Okay, last week, or in one of our sessions, we talked about lion rolls the ball, just going from side to side, almost the same thing. And we discovered that the hand, so normally the hand on top is the direction we're turning. Right hand on top, turn to the right. But we discovered that you can reverse it. And the reason you can reverse it, or the reason that the right hand is usually on top, is that I'm pulling in this direction, right? But we discovered that you can also pull, I'm not going to switch my hands and leave my hands where they are. We can also pull through the bottom hand and push through the top hand. Right? For lion rolls the ball. Okay? The only reason we were pulling through that top hand is that, now I switch again, is that it's so close to me, it's in my focus. I'm focused on it, so my intention, my brain moves to this hand, right? But I can put my intention anywhere I want. So just because this hand's in my face doesn't mean I should be focusing on this. This is one of the meanings of our proverb. Wise man points at the moon, foolish man looks at his finger. So don't look at your hand here. I mean, you can look at your hand, but don't put your mind here. Put your mind here, right? Okay, I hope that was clear. But we can't do that in rhino gazes at the moon because it flows better when we don't. See, come here to there, very easy, scoop down. It just really flows much better. So this is one that I'm not going to switch around on you, okay? So let's try it. We'll add our embellishments now. We did it a few times without the embellishments. Here come the embellishments, and these are great. The first one stretches the gastrocnemius, or calf muscle. The next one stretches the soleus alongside and underneath it. Can't really see it. And the last one is our balance, right? Don't get freaked out by the balance. It's not that hard. And if you get nervous about it, it just makes it harder. So relax. Okay, so we're going to go, we'll just do one of each. And remember, think about the shifting as you turn. As you turn, you automatically shift in the weight that you're turning towards, and that allows you to slide the opposite leg back. So I don't know which direction to face. I'll just go obliquely to one side. You won't be able to see this arm. So you'll have to watch the orange arm to see what's going on. But you've already seen what the arm's doing. So turn. Make your rhinoceros horn, sink your weight. This is right hand, so I sink into my right foot, slide the left foot back, plant the heel, straighten the leg, feel a stretch in the calf muscle. And then scoop the hand under, step back up, we'll do the other side. Turn to the left, yellow side. Make your rhinoceros horn, whichever version you like. Sink the weight into the left foot, slide the right foot back, plant the heel, straighten the back of the leg, feel the calf muscle stretch as you plant that heel. Okay, that's the gastrocnemius, back to where we were. Next comes the soleus. The only difference, I'll tell you the only difference. Turn to the right, Make your horn sink into the right foot. Slide the left foot back. Plant the heel, straighten the leg. The only difference is now everything's all set. You just drop that left knee a little bit, like an inch. As long as you keep pressing the heel into the mat, it doesn't take much at all. All right, that's your gastrocnemius, what you just felt. More than likely, if you did it correctly, that's what you felt, a weird pulling in the back of the lower leg. Here we go again. Make the horn, shift the weight, slide the foot back, plant the heel, straighten the back of the leg. Now just drop the knee a little bit. Whoa, that feels great. So this is absolutely brilliant. This is really hard to access that muscle. And this movement in Qigong, they figured out a way. You know, your physical therapist would have a hard time telling you how to access your soleus. Okay, ready for the balance. All my weight, this is orange, so all my weight's in my right foot, and now I can do my balance. Sure you can. If you can slide that foot back, you can also lift it up. Okay, other side, turn, shift, horn, and balance. Breathe, you guys, breathe. All right, excellent. That wasn't so bad. That's our old favorite, right? I used to love that one. Next, shoot the moon. We worked on this before, but we just did a real easy basic version. And now we're really going to get into it in a couple of ways. Well, first of all, when we did it last time, we had the arms just in this range here. We're going to lift our arms a little higher, like making a pizza. And I'm going to show you the energy. This has the energy of Benbo Shoot Tiger, which is this circular energy. It's not one arm going back and one arm going forward. It's a circle. And it has that combined with one of our teacup exercises. So teacup here, teacup there, and then shoot the moon. So as you pull this back, that shoots forward. See that? So let's put this together. Let's go start out same hand, same foot, and I'm just going to stay here. So left hand, left foot. And there's a traditional way to begin this, but we're just start up here. Okay, let's just start here. Okay, I got my teacups. Okay, so I'm looking at you guys. Okay, I'm not gonna look at you. I'm gonna shoot the moon. Okay, now we're gonna step and rotate and shoot the moon. Rotate. Step and shoot. So there's a little close and open too. Rotate, step and close, open and shoot. Why don't I turn around? Okay, hang on a second. Okay, we were here, I believe. Okay, so let's see. I guess that's the proper sequence. Okay, so begin to rotate, step, close, open and shoot. Oh, it feels so good. Okay, a couple more times. I'll call it out again. So start to rotate the hands, start to step in. This is all closing, closing, closing. Step out. That begins to open, and then big open and shoot. Feels really good. One more time. Rotate, close, step, open, shoot. Okay, so can we make it harder? Yes, we can, but it will feel better. It's worth it. That was same hand, same foot, right? We can do same hand, opposite foot. It's my left foot, it's my right hand, Same exact thing except for, okay, so we can just start here. So close and open, and then rotate, close, step, and open and shoot. Oh, that feels even better. It's even more twist, you guys. Rotate the palms, close, step in, step up, begin to open, and shoot. Oh man, that's great. That is a twist. Rotate, step in, closing, closing, closing. You can exaggerate all this, big opening, and shoot. How about one more until I leave the frame? Rotate, close, step, and open and shoot. Oh man, this could be my favorite one of all. Stand and meditate for a moment, or have a sip of water. Okay. Okay, so after something that dynamic, we need to calm down. We will compare and contrast moon embracing palm to cradling the moon against the chest. So first of all, let me go way, way back. We may have been, okay, so embrace the tree is with the feet even. And if I ever mix that up with what we're doing, apologize. But this is going to be in empty stance. So cradling the moon against the chest is traditionally in empty stance. And I'm super relaxed, it goes without saying, but there's pung, the elbows are heavy, the fingers aren't touching, okay, and everything's relaxed here, but there's still pung here. If you were here, I wish you were, but if you were here, like if I pushed your arms in, I mean, you wouldn't resist me, I wouldn't knock you over, but there'd be a little resistance, right? And it's a rubbery resistance, it's not tension. So that's pung, presence, okay? So, and I don't care which foot is back, we're gonna switch back and forth. So, and then moon embracing palms, I'm just gonna turn towards you, turn the palms out. The moon is a small object, the sun would be big, moon is small. And again, all this stretching and twisting happened when I turned my arms outwards. And when you engage this fascia, you should feel energy spring to your palms, right? Okay, there's nothing wrong with this, but there's less energy moving because we're more relaxed, right? And then you turn to the other side, moon embracing palm, and you just feel as the stretching happens, is as if energy squeezes out through your arms out into your open palms, right? Okay, and we're not going to step this one, but maybe just take a tiny break to show you what we would do if we were stepping. All right, we'll do a little stepping, just a few steps. Okay, just so you know, moon embracing palm. All right. Back the other way. All right, any Bagua people watching, that was not a good change of directions. But I have told you guys, we're not going to turn this into a Bagua class, so you've got enough to learn already, right? So we don't need to learn hand changes and foot changes. Maybe someday. Maybe I'll show you just one foot change, so we can change directions, and it'll look good. You'll feel good about knowing it, right? And it's always good to have alternate ways of changing directions, right? Rather than just saying, huh, what? See, that was nothing. What did I took 5 steps to turn around? Gotta be a better way. So I'll show you one sometime, but for right now, we're good. Okay, so let us just do that a couple of times. Use it as a meditation. Also use it as a leg strengthener because anytime you're in empty stance, your legs are going to start to get really tired. So pick a leg, I don't care which one, and cradle the moon against the chest. Couple of breaths. Turn to one side. I don't really particularly care which side you turn to. Moon embracing palms, twisting, stretching, pulling without tension. Back to cradle the moon against the chest. So I'm just combining these two things. This is not a real movement. It's a real movement, but I'm just saying I'm combining two things into one thing. Okay, so that leg is tired. Step it back. Why don't we step forward? Well, because when the moon's full, we try to do everything different, right? Do everything backwards or opposite. So I'm turning. Remember, turn as far as you can. It will make your circle walking easier next time we do it. Back to here. So you know what's going to happen after this. We'll do a little meditation, and we're going to do our form. Okay, so we did it to both sides. Step your foot back another time, and begin to meditate as you cradle the moon against the chest. So our form is going to be coming up here shortly. And remember, you can turn off the video and just rough out your form. See if you have questions. See if there's anything you need to watch for. If you forget where your foot's supposed to be, forget which hand is doing what, and then turn the video back on. I'm going to be taking a water break, but we're meditating here. Let's try something else. Step back one more time so we have a fresh leg. And now go inside your body and feel how much movement there is. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I don't want you to hold yourself rigidly. We're not balancing either. But this is about stability. This is about just knowing that your body is always in motion. Don't try to resist it. Don't try to stop it. Now that I mentioned it, I'm moving all over the place. Let's try, I'm going to go to a fresh leg. Okay, now let's try something. Feel all that little movement that you weren't noticing a moment before. And now bring your mind down to your dantian. See what changes. So I was hoping to tell you that all movement ceases, but it clearly doesn't, right? But it feels differently. It feels like the movement is sort of centered in the dantian, and all that movement, like there's a bowl of soup in the dantian, and maybe it's kind of almost slopping over the edges. I'm still not telling you to be stock still. That requires tension. I'm going to go to a fresh leg. Let's see if we can bring our mind down into our feet. Okay, that definitely stilled a lot of that movement. Can we bring our mind even lower than our feet? So go about a foot down into the earth. It doesn't stop the movement, but I definitely feel more stable. All right. But remember, anytime we sink down, don't oversink. So you can sink all you want, but pull up through the crown point of the head. See what just happened? Oh my God, energy just shot out through my arms. Okay, good. I'm glad I made that correction. Okay, I am going to take one more breath, and then we're going to take a little water break. You guys are going to rough out your form, and then we'll come back and all do our form together. And thank you very much. Be right back. Okay, we're back, and hope you had a little water break. Maybe you tried out your form. Maybe not. It's just a suggestion. So we'll do our form, and then why don't I try to do it from a different angle, but why not when we have the lunar movements, we'll do the opposite, which is me facing away from you. I know we did that fairly recently, but it's just so counterintuitive. No one makes a video facing away from you. So that's what we'll do. So we'll do the A side first, and first I'll just do the A side, the mini form, and then we'll do the B side, and we'll see, we'll add the transitions and just go transitioning. So what I wanted to do is you should, it's nice to add an intention to your form. Same thing, and add an intention to your yoga practice, or intention to maybe whatever you do, you know, just a way that you're going to experience something. So the problem is with the form, a lot of times where our mind is really just focused on just getting the movements right. We can't really think of another thing, but you can keep it tucked away in the back of your mind. So we'll start with one that's easy and one that we should always be doing, and that is to keep your form light and almost insubstantial. Have the movements feel effortless. And this is especially good, again, if you are recuperating from something. And if you, or if you are tired, your form should not take any energy at all if you don't want it to. If you want your form to be a workout, you have the deep stances, the wide stepping. But if you want your form to take no energy whatsoever, then you can do that too. And you would take small steps, what they call small frame, so your arms are not making big movements. And so that's what I'll do. That's what I'll do. Okay, we're ready. And it's the same form, it's just done a little with a different intention, different mind, different yi. So I feel weird facing away from you, but here we go. Okay, sink, relax. And again, you may just go by the sound of my voice if you want. Sink into your right foot. The left foot comes up effortlessly. The left hand floats up, light as a feather. Step through. And a punch right down your center line, but it's an effortless punch. Arm comes around, suspended on helium balloons. Reach up to touch the 7 stars of the Big Dipper. Just floating effortlessly. The hand comes back to the waist. Empty fist, floating through space. So that's our forward motion. We're going to start to sink back, white crane. And then we switch our hands. Now you can start to see me more. White ache swings through branches. I'm shifting left, I shift back right. Okay, I can go even smaller frame so it's more effortless. Step up and over. Shifting right, shift back left, barely moving now. Ring the gong, shifting back. Towards the corner, strike a tiger. Again, towards the corner, strum the lute. Shift back, big pivot. Inspect horse's mouth. Almost done. Half step back. And then half step the other foot back. And dragon pose. All right, great. So we'll do the B side now. I'll take a little sip of water. And again, I'll be facing away from you. And now, according to my pylons, I'll do the form. I'll keep doing it over and over and over again until I leave, about to leave our space, or to the point where you can't see my feet. Just roughly. And this shows you how you can turn our mini form into as long of a practice as you wish. And then I'm just stopping arbitrarily when I reach the end of the frame, but you know that if you, for instance, came up to a dining room table here, you can always just take a few steps back and continue your form. Little shuffle steps. So remember, when you take your little shuffle steps, they retain the weighting. So I have my front foot forward, so I take a couple shuffle steps back, and now my weight is still where it was. I'm in basically the same spot, right? And so you can do that anytime you need to, right? Because I know you're not practicing under ideal conditions. Off we go. This is the B side. Here we go. Shift into your left foot. Right foot steps back. Step the left foot back. Dragon pose. Single whip. Strike a tiger. Keep twisting left. Left foot steps back. This is pull and push. And then a little step back. And then a shoulder strike. And then a pivot. Draw the bucket from the well. Shift back. Hands at the height of the chest. Left palm up, right palm down. Pivot right. Step the left foot in and back. Downward push. White snake darts out its tongue. So now we're back on the A side. 7 stars. Carry hammer. White crane. White ape swings through branches. Elbow strikes the heart. Ring the gong. Strike tiger left. Strum the lute. Big pivot. Inspect horse's mouth. Whoa, we're going to keep going. Dragon pose. All right, good. We can keep going for a while. We're on the B side. Single whip. Strike a tiger right. Pull and push. And shoulder strike. Pivot and draw the bucket from the well. Sit back. Pivot. Downward push. White snake darts out its tongue. 7 stars. Carry hammer. Maybe I'll go even smaller frame. Single whip. But I like this one, big frame. That's why it swings through branches. Okay. I'll go back small frame. Elbow strikes the heart. Barely moving now. Strike a tiger. I'm not generating any heat here. In fact, I feel cooler now than when I started. Coming around to inspect horse's mouth. Dragon pose. Wow, let's keep going. Single whip. That's what we said. Strike a tiger. Effortless. I could do this all day. Pull and push. Shoulder strike. Draw the bucket. Pivot. And a downward push. Oh my God. We are back where we started from. We did this 4 times. And I believe this was our first transition. Okay. We can't keep doing this forever. All right? We can't. Okay. Shoulder strike, and that's it. Okay, good. Excellent. All right, but that was like at least 4 times. Okay, so very good. So, for those of you not practicing the form and you fast forwarded through all that, or you just did the best you could, we do some stepping. We always do stepping, right? And we'll do Dragon Chases the Moon. And this one is so great because it's so subtle. I just love it. This is just making you pay attention, just inner turning and twisting. and what really causes us to take steps. So the arm movement, forget about the steps for the time being. The arm movement is this sort of single whip movement. So you can, your fingertips are together, and then the hand is hooked down. No tension, right? Not too much tension in the wrist here, even though it's kind of hooked down. In Bagua, I think this sometimes is done with palms up, making palm movements, but enough palms. We've done that already. So let's do this single whip type of movement. It's very much like dragon's tail, right? Like a dragon tail. And so already you're feeling sort of this pulling and pushing. This is pulling, yellow's pulling back, orange is pushing forward. Orange is pulling back, yellow's pushing forward. And just turning the waist, right? And, but now, see if we can get a step going. And remember, I want you to wait till you feel it, not when I say to do it. So I can't tell you that every time I circle my arms, I feel a whole body movement, a movement that reaches all the way down through my body to my legs. I'd be lying if I told you that, but if I feel for it and it happens, I'm going to step. So this time when this hand comes forward, I'm just going to let it step the same leg forward. To me, that's the easiest one. When the arm comes forward, it brings the same leg with it. Pretty obvious. And so don't step every time. Just step when you feel it or when you're ready. Okay? Was there one? I can't step up the foot that I already stepped, right? Okay, so I consider that to be the easiest. I'm getting a little too close to you guys. A little harder, I think, is stepping up the opposite foot, because this requires this folding. So this comes around, and I close and fold. So I'm folding in the qua, right? Okay, so I'm just roughing this out for you. So watch, it's yellow hand again this time. So this comes forward, and then this closes and folds. It's another form of a stretch, but it's a closing or twist. It's like a closing twist instead of an open twist. This was an open twist that we did earlier. This is a closing twist. Different feelings. Should feel really good though. So, all right. You have to sink down. To fold, you have to sink. So we're closing, sinking, folding. Didn't do it there. And I did it here. Close, sink, and fold. All right, so that's a straight line. Let's do it in a circle. I don't need this pylon anymore. We're almost done, you guys. Good job today. I know it's hot and muggy. Even if you're indoors, you had to go out sometime today. Okay. Make as big or a smaller circle as you feel like or as your room allows. The bigger the circle, the less you have to pay attention to turning your feet, right? It just makes sense. And don't worry about your stepping today, because this is what we're doing is very complicated. So don't just do it intuitively. Okay? And the slower and the smaller, and just do nice, slow and small. We're still doing our intention of effortlessness, insubstantiability, just like we're not even here. Don't do it when I do it necessarily. And now we're just improvising. It might be same hand, same foot like I just did. I really wouldn't try to do it every time the arm comes around. That's just too much. Or what will happen would be you'll just fake it, right? I'd rather have it be real and not every time than fake and doing it every time. That's the problem with some drills. Oh, I'm up against the wall. Some of our drills, we're going to, you're just going to try to get to the other end of the room. That's why I don't pound these drills into you hard, because you may stop learning and you may just start to just try to get it over with, right? You don't want to just try to get this stuff over with. You want to really enjoy our practice and enjoy your confusion when you don't get it. That means you're exercising your brain. Right? Your brain is not exercising. When you're reading your favorite book, you're really not exercising your brain. When you're reading a book you don't want to read, that is exercise for your brain, a difficult book, right? I don't even know if we're going to make a whole circle around. We probably won't. But as I just said, I don't want you to feel you have to make an entire circle, but we have to go the other direction. So let me turn around and then I'll get a little further away from you guys. Okay, so here we go. I'm up against the wall again. So you'll start to notice things, a little preference, whoa, a little preference for one side or the other, or one direction or the other, or you're more comfortable stepping 1 foot forward in your circle. It's good just to notice these things. I think that's good. But that's another one you can do throughout the week. Take a little break. Do it whenever you want. Especially if you're cooped up indoors. You don't have to worry about your stepping if you're walking. If you've got your Fitbit and you're getting 10,000 steps a day, don't even worry about it. Okay, so this is great. In my research, I found out another name for our ending Qigong. Already we've got opening Tai Chi, and we have lifting water, and we have White Crane seeks the morning sun, and we have, it's been called God's play in the clouds. But since we're doing this full moon Tai Chi right now, I also saw it referred to as moon bids farewell to the setting sun. Moon bids farewell to the setting sun. I almost forgot it. It's beautiful. Now, yes, when they did it, they came up a little higher than shoulder length, like I just did. And see how this is a wave? This is kind of a wave. I've never really thought of it as a wave, right? I mean, a wave goodbye. Moon bids farewell to the setting sun. And it's you don't always see the moon and the setting sun simultaneous in the sky, so it's just I think half of the moon cycle where the moon is already up at sunset. But I'm not an expert on this stuff. Okay, so another thing we're going to review is our moon-based closing quote from Confucius that we already considered But the beauty of a really good proverb is it can be interpreted many different ways. So what I'm referring to is what we already talked about. When wise man points at the moon, foolish man looks at his finger. And we were using that as a real good Tai Chi proverb or Tai Chi lesson to say, yeah, don't put if I talk about your hand, don't put your mind in your hand. Your mind should be maybe in your Mingmen or your Dantian or somewhere, but not in your hand. And there are demonstrations of where I can, you'd have to be here though, but there's a demonstration where I can take away almost all your power just by touching you somewhere on your body. And whereas your power, you had your center and your power, when I bring your mind to another part of your body and ruin everything. And now that would need to be demonstrated maybe with push hands, but it's really true. So that's what we were considering, but how about this? Maybe even simpler, okay? So when wise man points at the moon, foolish man looks at his finger, that could also mean better to think long term than short term, or I'll leave it up to you. Maybe you have another interpretation. It's too bad comments are turned off, but a smart person can figure out how to reach me. Okay, thank you so much. Such a pleasure to practice with you. And again, I appreciate your interest and your support. And I will keep making videos as long as you keep watching them. And thank you so much. And we'll see you next week.